Michael.
David.
Cody.
Connor.
Tyler. Tim.
Hello. Today I'm here to speak to you guys a little bit about legal drug abuse. Legal drug abuse is a growing problem that affects many people, ranging from the youngest children to the oldest adults. In order to prevent and stop legal drug abuse, we will first have to further understand it and the things that cause it. Legal drugs can be any type of medicine that are available over the counter or with a prescription. Drug abuse can be defined simply as the use of a drug for an unintended purpose. An example of this would be using a pain medication in order to go to sleep, or using an antidepressant in order to achieve the altered state of mind that it provides. According to Dr. Barbara Heck, who is a medical publisher, in 2009, 16 million people, ages 12 and above, abused legal drugs for the first time. They did this by using drugs for their unintended purpose. The first step to ending legal drug abuse is to recognize when it is taking place and to recognize the symptoms of drug abuse, drug dependency, and to understand its causes.
What causes drug abuse?
That's an excellent question. There are actually many causes to legal drug abuse. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration, there is no single cause for drug abuse. Although there are some biological, social, and psychological persuasions that will cause a person to abuse drugs or increase their likelihood to abuse drugs. Symptoms of a person who has abused drugs or is dependent on drugs includes tolerance, large amounts of those drugs being used over extended periods of time, and withdrawal from those drugs when a long amount of time passes between the last use. The mental state of a drug abuser is also subject to change. Sleep habits may become sporadic, and emotional instability may also occur.
How bad is it? How many people use drugs?
That's an excellent question. Many people over a wide range of ages actually do abuse drugs. According to medical author Melissa Conrad, drug abuse can occur with any legal or prescription drug, although there are some drugs that are more subject to being abused than others. Examples of these drugs are painkillers such as hydrocodone, CNS depressants. Drugs like these are among the most commonly abused drugs. To answer your question, it has been proven that more people each year are abusing legal drugs. According to the Drug Free World Administration, in 2006, 2.6 million people abused the prescription drug in some manner for the first time. Back in 2005, there were records of at least 22,400 drug overdoses, and 38% of those resulted in death. The problem of legal drug abuse cannot be prevented until we further understand legal drug abuse, what causes it, and methods to prevent it. Preventing drug abuse before it begins, especially in young people, and helping those who are abusing or dependent on legal drugs to recover are great approaches to dealing with this issue. For some people, recognizing when legal drug abuse or dependency occurs will be quite difficult. But as we further understand legal drug abuse and their symptoms and are able to recognize these things, preventing it will become easier.
How can drug abuse in adolescents be stopped?
Preventing legal drug abuse in adolescents, children, and teens is quite important. Although it is believed that children are more exposed or overexposed in social environments away from home, such as school or social engagements, prevention and education begins at home. It's important for parents to educate and discipline teens and children at home, in addition to providing the proper example. There are also programs such as the Raising Healthy Children program that offer services and interventions for parents, students, and teachers to help prevent legal drug abuse. It is equally important for people who have abused drugs and become dependent to go through some type of recovery. Common methods of recovery are abstinence and rehabilitation. Drug dependents often need various psychological treatment as well as medical observation when in recovery. Oftentimes, prolonged drug abuse can lead to both psychological and mental deterioration. Due to these long-term effects, rehabilitation centers are often the best choices for recovery. Some over-the-counter and prescription policies can be partly to blame, and maybe some changes to these policies will contribute largely to the end of legal drug abuse. For example, more locations than just pharmacies have over-the-counter drugs available. Markets and gas stations are some of these locations. There are also more drugs becoming more commonly available over the counter that were once available only by prescription, such as ibuprofen. By restricting the open availability of some medicines and requiring identification, over-the-counter drug abuse can be prevented, especially for people who are underage. Ultimately, ending legal drug abuse will come down to personal discipline and personal responsibility. It is up to us as individuals to ensure that we only use medicine for its intended use and to not use it any longer than we need to get better. That is all I have, and if there are no final questions, I would like to thank you for your time.